Oh man, look at us. We're all here.
That's quick.
Oh yeah.
Normally it's just me here rambling on about what we just did. It's a soapbox. It's a little after 9:30 on February 3rd, 2023. We just got done talking about Krull for like an hour, I don't know, like 40 minutes or so. Probably the last 40 some minutes I really want to spend talking about Krull. I think you know what? I know in the episode I said I liked it better than He-Man. I don't know that I did actually now the more I think about it because like I said, Masters of the Universe had more charming characters. And I think you need characters to take you on that journey. And Ricky, before we started the show, he says, I couldn't tell you the name of a single one of those characters. And I don't really blame you other than Lissa. I feel like that's kind of like a
To be fair, I can't name a Masters of the Universe character aside from He-Man, Tila, and Man at Arms.
those are the three in the movie.
Well, what's Courtney?
What
Cox's
about
name?
Gwildor?
What about Skeletor?
I mean, yeah,
Beastman?
sure.
Evil Lyn?
Yeah.
What about
Blade?
what about Blade? That guy was pretty cool.
Blade is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but Blade is also cool because he's the actual stunt coordinator.
That was pretty awesome, though.
You don't
It is
know that
awesome.
as a kid, though.
No, I'm saying you don't know that as a like that stuff. When first time I saw it, of course I didn't know that, and I'm totally with you. Like
I feel
later
like you're
on, seeing
hyping this
behind the
guy up,
scenes,
though.
you're like, okay, Blade was cool.
Like we only know he's the stunt coordinator after the fact. Like
for sure. Yeah,
it's definitely like a, hey, dude, you can do a backflip. All right, designer stunt situation.
Watching it the first time, it's the equivalent of that woman covered in blades and Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, where they just like stick a bunch of swords on somebody. And like this is a character.
It's the equivalent of it's the equivalent of Cousin Oliver in the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Like who the hell is this kid? Well, he's not the Brady Bunch. Yeah, I get you. It's Blade was offensive to me as a kid, but when I watched that movie 2 weeks ago and I saw him stab that table and they didn't cut away, and I was like, that better be a real stunt man because you don't do that with your pretty actors right next to an actual like bladed weapon. And then I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, he was the stunt man. That's so cool. Anyways, things like that made me appreciate Masters more than Krull. I think Krull is just a giant, like it's a giant example of what gets churned out by the corporate machine.
And Masters really ran out of money, literally.
I know, and it was bankrolled partially by the director because Mattel didn't get them all the money they needed. And I think that's really cool because I don't know if did you watch our episode on Masters?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's cool. Like it was really fun to learn that like that director was actually trying to do a love letter to the Jack Kirby comic books. And it's funny because like he blew his budget making a Jack Kirby movie instead of a He-Man movie. But so like I appreciated all the weirdness of looking at it, through the lens of now. But I'm like, bro, you still didn't make a He-Man movie, just to be clear, like you made something else. But at least he went into it with like this goal he had in mind. And I think he achieved his goal to some degree. Whereas like when you read like the wiki or if you go to IMDb, read anything about Krull, and it's just like it seems like nobody knew what this movie needed to be until they had changed it a million times over. Like I'm so happy that I don't have to have the memory of a really crappy 80s dragon in this movie though. Like it would have looked terrible.
Oh, well, one of the best dragons still to this day is Dragon Slayer. You guys ever seen Dragon Slayer?
It's that's a live action movie?
Yes, with Tim McNichol, and it was a Disney film. It was one of Disney's only PG rated films.
And it's live action, huh?
It's live action. And
I don't know that dragon. Get a picture if you got it. Yeah. Show me, Ricky or Clarke.
The only Dragon movie I enjoyed was Reign of Fire.
I like Rain of Fire. I also like Dragonheart. You ever seen Dragonheart with Sean?
Absolutely, but
Sean?
for some reason, Dragonheart, I never liked it because I just got so sick of Dennis Quaid yelling, "Einhard was God."
I never get tired of Dennis Quaid. He's the most famous Dennis in Hollywood. He's in that that Pixar movie that came out recently, right?
The Strange Worlds.
Strange Worlds. Did you guys watch it?
I did. I saw it in the theaters.
It's all right. I liked it.
You know, it had a lot more potential. Like I loved the song at the beginning.
Yeah. It had a strong beginning and not a
Yes.
strong end. I
No.
agree. I agree.
To loop this back into Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, George Santos has admitted that he was, or is claiming that he was one of the producers of that musical. I just saw that right now. So there's your 2 Turn Off the Dark references this week.
I saw that play.
I want to find a bootleg.
Oh, you can on YouTube. It's just go to YouTube.
I saw it in person.
That's how I watched it.
That was my first time in New York.
I remember when you went. I was
Turn
jealous.
Off the Dark, baby.
It's terrible.
That
It
is
is
one
funny.
aspect of Disney Plus that I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, is the plays on D Plus.
Have you seen the live action or the live recreation of Encanto though?
Yes.
The concert thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Selena watched it. We were supposed to go to that actually.
You should watch it. It's so good.
She did not like it as much.
Cried. I cried. I cry every time they do the freaking pressure song. The pressure song gets me, man.
That
It's so
movie,
good.
I liked it, but the grandma stuff I just really hate. That movie. It's not accurate.
It's accurate. Bro.
No one apologizes in those
It's
families.
accurate. Oh, you mean in our family?
And yeah.
Fair enough. But that's kind of the whole point of media, right? It's wish fulfillment. Like
That's fair.
That's the fantasy, right? Like that's kind of why I've been rewatching that 70s show, because I was kind of shocked to be reminded how much the parents in that show are like my parents, but better.
Can you guys see my messages in the private chat?
Yeah, I can.
The second one is from Dragon Slayer.
Sword of the Sorcerer. I'm gonna watch that one. Where can I watch Sword of the Sorcerer is the real question. Bring it up, Ricky. Bring up the dragon.
I feel like I'm in a lull on TV shows to watch in our house. Like I really, aside from The Last of Us, we're not watching much.
That's why I'm watching that 70s show, because I got nothing else to watch. You know what I will say though? I have been watching Velma.
We are watching Velma. I don't love it.
Kind of do. Well, I guess I don't love it like Last of Us love it, you know.
I think their jokes hit more than they miss, but it's, if you're hitting 100 times and missing 50 times, that's still a lot of misses.
It's like MODOK, right?
Yeah.
It's like MODOK with the jokes. It's a little too MODOK-y with the jokes.
The ones that hit, I think, hit really well, but the
I
ones that
agree.
miss, they do stack up. And
Hey, that's a pretty good dragon there. That's from the 80s?
Yep. This
That's
was
impressive.
And if you
no way that dragon would fly with that wing.
Man, they are pretty big wings though.
You know what? It might be on Disney Plus.
I watched.
That's a pretty good looking dragon.
Black Panther on my new TV.
Yeah.
When it switches to IMAX back and forth, that looks really cool. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I haven't watched it yet. It's I'm excited for that one though. I will say it is telling that of all of the Disney or Marvel movies, the one I have never rewatched is Thor: Love and Thunder. I've just never gone back to watch it again ever since I watched it in theaters.
I did.
I'm like, I know what it is. I loved it when I saw it in theaters, but then I was like, I haven't done it. I haven't gone back to it.
I consistently go back and rewatch certain scenes from movies on a weekly basis, but Love and Thunder has not been one of those movies.
Yeah, but I am excited to watch Black Panther this week. It's gonna be good. Sword and Sorcerer is on Tubi and Pluto and Roku. It's free all over the place, so we could definitely go check that one out later.
James Gunn threw out this question on his Twitter, but are we want the trunks on Superman or no trunks? What are we?
I want the trunks, man.
I want the trunks.
At some point, like, I don't know why we're trying to like make the superhero costumes more practical. Like that doesn't. It's from Krypton, dude. They can like that's one of my favorite stupid things from All-Star Superman is when he's rocking the cape. Like he's like explaining that it's custom like ceremonial Kryptonian like garb.
Well, what's the canon? I feel like I know the cape and the symbol are from Krypton, but everything else Mawkent makes, right? Or is it the entire suit is from Krypton?
It depends on the retcon.
Okay.
But I think there are versions where the suit is in the style of Kryptonian.
Because the cape is the blanket
customs.
he was in.
Yes, the cape is the blanket, I believe. Yeah. But it does have the S on it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
sure.
and also
It needs
and also sometimes it's an indestructible material. So I'm questioning how Mawkent could have sewed it. Like other times it's not. It all depends. I don't care. I just want him to look like Superman. And so the day they took the underwear off, I was like, that looks wrong.
Well, I think if you do a undie Superman, you got to throw undies on Batman.
I agree.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with undies on Batman.
Suit Batman.
But the thing with Batman though is it doesn't have to be blue and gray. Like he can be black, but he can still have black undies on top of black.
I'm
like
curious to see what they do with two Batman though. Like I really think I know like I personally I think audiences are smart enough to distinguish the two, but I feel like that will be a studio decision where you need to make them very different. And that part of that is the costume. So
I would love a blue and gray Batman though. That would be cool. That would like never since Adam West have we had a blue and gray one on screen.
Blue and gray.
You know what I mean? Like
I mean Batfleck's costume was not the problem in BVS for me. I'll say that. So to throw some blue in there, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, I think it's the Fleck part of the Batfleck that was the problem for me. He's terrible. Like he's just. I think the problem I have with Ben Affleck is there's no way in a million years that you would convince me that he's one of the smartest human beings on the planet. Just not. Like Jesse Eisenberg, I can believe it because I watched The Social Network. You know what I mean? Like I can believe that he's one of the smartest human beings on the planet.
He plays a movie where he's like a smart assassin, right? Like that's like I don't know if you have to believe it, but
I'm saying I don't believe Ben Affleck when he tries to make me believe he's smart. There's a reason that it's Matt Damon that is the genius.
Ben is not the wicked smart one.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can't. Anytime I see Ben Affleck, I'm like, it's like Ashton Kutcher in that '70s show. It's like, or Dude, Where's My Car? That's how Ashton Kutcher does it. All right. He's just that. He's that guy. Wow, that's the dragon, huh? That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I'll have to check that out sometime. I don't know that one. But I will watch Sword of the Sorcerer later. What is I'm trying to think. So the 80s are a weird time for movies and stuff, right? But like, what about the 90s, Clark? What is your 90s like fiction like go to?
Jurassic Park, 93. That's why I always talk about how Jurassic Park for our generation is what Star Wars was for those before us, because there's the movies before Jurassic Park, there's the movies that are after it.
That's
And
fair. That was a pretty easy answer.
yeah, but
I know Ricky wants it to be T2, but it's not. It's not T2. Like that liquid Terminator does not hold a candle to that T-Rex, dude.
yeah,
I think it does.
No,
No.
it doesn't. It
I
really
think it
doesn't.
does.
they're related though, because they're the same people. And T2 is what let us get Jurassic Park. It just
Yeah,
was,
that's fair.
It was just the movie before it, and
Yeah.
before that was The Abyss, and
The Abyss one is not hold
Have you
up
been
to
to
the
the
T2
Academy
one.
Museum,
Right.
Clark?
What was that?
Have you been to the Academy Museum?
No, and I really want to.
You should.
I-
There
I-
is
I- yeah.
a whole lineage of the Abyss to T2
Mhm.
to Jurassic Park, like exhibit there, and they walk you through it.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
So, I give that example because it wasn't just a CGI. It was also the birth of digital sound. Jurassic
Yeah.
Park was the first time that I saw a trailer for sound in front of the movie. And then THX started doing stuff and things. But I remember DTS had a trailer for it, and in the theater, and
Yeah,
we were
that's
like,
true.
Whoa, what is this?"
Well,
Yeah.
So
let's take this further. What's the 2000s and what's the 2010s? What's the one movie that's special effects wise changed the game?
I mean, you're gonna have to go to Avatar just
That's
because the
2010 though.
copycats. That's
What-
2009.
Is it
And
2009?
Yes, but because that changed, that had all the 3D copycats afterwards. I mean,
I don't know, man. I feel like Iron Man made me believe harder than any movie had made me believe in a
You know
long
what?
time.
and I would agree with you. And in fact, I would say that Iron Man was a bigger influence on movies than Avatar, because Iron Man is what started the MCU and the desire for everyone to get these shared universes.
Yeah.
And that has changed how movies and TV are made.
Yeah. Because he looks so believable.
Yeah.
In that movie, you believe it's an actual man in an Iron Man suit in that movie every single time. And that is a special effect to an extreme degree. It's pretty amazing.
I mean,
and then to also create the Tony cam, like the Tony cam has been ripped off a billion times over since then. It is, you know what I mean? Like the inside the mask.
You're seeing inside the view.
Yeah. Like every superhero ever does that now. And it's so funny to me. And they never did that before. I feel like it's Iron Man. Iron Man's pretty nuts, dude. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves for well, I mean it does. It's the start of the MCU. But I'm saying for movies just in general, you know what I mean? Like because they just lump it into it's a superhero movie. But that movie made me believe in Iron Man. It made a whole world of people suddenly say Superman, Spider-Man, and the Hulk are no longer just the three, or Batman, are the four. Now it's Iron Man too, right?
Yeah.
Like completely. The X-Men didn't do that. They didn't pull it off to that extent. Like, yeah, we got a lot of X-Men movies, but
they didn't elevate. I mean, Wolverine is still the only one that has the most name recognition from the X-Men because he was already the most popular.
Yeah.
But
they took a character that only comic book fans knew in Iron Man and they made him a household name.
Yeah. And again, one of the greatest I almost say resurrection acting stories ever,
is Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And just the accolades, of course, that he gets, that everybody recognizes how great. And remember, that same year he also did Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Another one of the greatest performances he's done. I freaking love that movie. But I feel no guilt about that.
Is Iron Man pre or post Benjamin Button?
Benjamin Buttons.
Yeah. I feel like that movie looked pretty
That movie doesn't look as good as Iron Man.
No. All right.
No.
All right. 2010. What's the 2010 movie?
The tens? The tens, huh? I mean, Thanos, anything with Thanos is pretty nuts, dude. When are the Lord of the Rings? When are the Lord of the Rings?
2001, 2002,
Oof,
2003.
those are crazy too.
You know, and I would give
I
that.
feel like you take those over Iron Man.
I don't know. I mean, they're
Well,
pretty.
and then there's the
they're
first
pretty
Spider-Man.
game-changing. You know the thing about the 2001s is, or I mean the Lord of the Rings is they gave us Iron Man because it's Weta. Because Weta suddenly said, you know, ILM doesn't have to do it all, and
Mhm.
they were the big company to come out and challenge ILM. So Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk are both products of Weta.
You also had District 9 in there. I remember that movie looking
No, not even close.
pretty good.
Neil
Not even
Blomkamp, but
close.
I would say also for Lord of the Rings, it gave us the concept of betting all your chips, because they said we're going to do all three and we're going to film them together, and they saved
Yeah.
money that way. But it was a big risk, but it totally worked.
Yeah.
And that changed how a lot of movies were. Although technically, I didn't know this, but that's how they did Back to the Future 2 and 3.
I feel like I knew that.
That Back to the Future 2 and 3 were filmed back to back. So, you know, so Lord of the Rings wasn't the first.
Well, Superman 2 uses half footage
that
was meant to be
absolutely,
for Superman 1.
You're entirely correct. Yeah, Superman 1 and 2 was supposed to be all Richard Donner.
Yeah.
So that,
yeah, if I don't give it to Iron Man, then I'll give it to the Lord of the Rings, because those movies were game changers.
And I rewatch them constantly, and they still hold up so much.
Oh, they hold up really well.
I mean,
They do.
That Balrog looks pretty sick.
The Balrog looks sick. The ride of Rohan, the charge of Rohan, the music, the thunder. I mean,
because from Lord of the Rings you get Harry Potter, right? And then you get.
But Harry Potter special effects don't look as good as Lord of the Rings.
And they're more cartoony.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to. I think they're trying to be more for kids, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Lord of the Rings is way up there. Like I think Lord of the Rings easily probably my favorite fantasy movies. Like if you want to go with fantasy in the strictest terms that Ricky feels is fantasy, which is no lasers,
high fantasy,
and no lights.
No, I would agree. I think Lord of the Rings, that's tough.
If it's got elves and no Mjolnir, elves and no Mjolnir.
Yeah. But you know, when you talk about the tens, you know, so now we're getting to Avengers, and now Avengers is easy peasy for us. But that first Avengers, that risk, you know, that is this going to work? You know, that actually combining the four movies together.
Yeah. You know, I think for me, Infinity War is the pinnacle of
absolutely. I think it's better, but that's at the end, you know.
Yeah, but the Thanos you get in Infinity War is the superior Thanos.
Absolutely.
He's a practical dude in the first in Avengers, and then
they made you so Infinity War is the promise fulfilled once again of Gollum. Because not since Gollum
we didn't even talk about Lord of the Rings is the winner.
Not since Gollum had we seen a CG character that captured our hearts.
Yeah.
And Thanos did one further, and he said, I'm the bad guy, and I'm going to make you say I'm right by the end of this movie. And that's impressive, man. He was the CG Darth Vader of the Avengers universe, and he made everybody a fan of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a big risk for Josh Brolin, dude. Big risk.
Was you don't even get to see his face. You're coming on the Apes movies before that, right? The reboot?
Man, James Spader was Ultron. That didn't go so well.
It didn't hurt him.
Yeah, but it's not like people are like, "Hey, we want James Spader to come back more and more and more." Like, no.
Yeah, no,
it's not. Like, you know, I'm just saying it is a risk. It's a risk. You know, yeah. But there's probably, I mean, if we stretch ourselves to go outside of superhero movies
Apes
to find something. What?
The eighth Planet of the Apes movies, the most recent trilogy. That's a good looking monkey.
But are we talking
Still
special effects here? Or are we talking
still
about like
look-
how
I think
movies are
special
made?
effects.
It still looks more CG than Jurassic Park. It's worse special.
I mean,
effects
if you
than
want to,
Jurassic Park.
I think Mando season 1 was a big game changer.
But that's because Mando season 1 did a lot of practical effects.
Yeah,
But it's also at the scale. I mean,
but you're right.
It's a TV show, and they're, I mean, using the volume, it definitely changed.
The volumetrics again, how it's filmed changed shows afterwards. You know, that's that big jump by having those digital sets. You know, again, redefine it, and we're gonna get more. There'll be more steps, you know, like that, which is amazing. And
but now we're just talking technology.
And stuff.
We're just talking technology.
But
I'm talking about the entire package of selling the experience, you know, and being that iconic. Like, you know, I would still put Avatar up there because it still gave the world something they'd never seen before. Just the same way that Jurassic Park did, and the same way that, you know,
I mean, had Avatar come out before Iron Man, I think Avatar is the obvious one, right?
No,
but I mean, the Lord of the Rings came out before both of them.
Yeah, but we're still almost 10 years apart. I mean, I would group them as a next thing. Or I mean, if you're going for a full generation, that's 20 years. But you know, because before Star Wars was I'm blanking on 2001.
Yeah,
Space Odyssey. You know, which blew people away,
crazy.
and still, you know, looks amazing because a lot of it's practical.
Yeah,
and such, but
yeah, those are better monkeys than Planet of the Apes. Just saying.
They're making another trilogy too
Of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
of course they are, because it's an
established
IP.
sequel to the last movies. Yeah,
it's established IP. Right.
Yeah.
I would hope they go full circle with it and have the humans land back on Earth. They did tease the thing.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't care enough about the specific apes, though, and I think that's the thing. Like, I get what they're doing, but like the reason I like the first one is because James Franco and John Lithgow sell that movie, and when they're not in the sequels, it got weird for me because I'm like, oh,
they went full ape.
I'm supposed to care about Caesar, or I don't though. Like I know what Andy Serkis was trying to do, right? He's trying to recreate the magic of Gollum, but like Gollum's too quirky and too funny to, like, you know, you can't outdo Gollum. You just can't. Like, until you're Thanos, you can't.
Did he do Gollum in the sequels in The Hobbit too?
Yes, he's in all the movies. Yeah, Andy Serkis, his Gollum is what made those movies special. Like, that's the difference between like King Kong and Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Ironically,
Sure.
that was
both Andy Serkis though.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's his Gollum performance is what makes Gollum so special. It's not that Andy Serkis is going to knock it out of the park every time.
Yeah, Venom too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Wouldn't know. Is he in it?
No, I don't think he does any mocap work. He just directs it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, whatever.
I wonder who does if. I probably no one does the mocap work for any of them, right?
Did you know that Michael B. Jordan directed Creed 3?
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was supposed to be like his launch pad to direct his Superman movie that is now not happening.
Oh yeah, that's not happening. Huh? Damn it. Damn it. Oh,
I have not seen the second Creed. I don't.
It's pretty good.
It is. It's the Rocky IV of the Creeds.
Yeah.
And I was actually impressed at how much characterization they gave Drago.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
really,
It's like
the
high
fact
bar
that
Cobra Kai. That's what it feels like.
yeah, but I mean, it's good, and you actually, I mean, you care more about Drago than his son.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the wife comes back too,
Yes,
right?
and she's cold.
Yeah. It
Bridget
was really
Nielsen
cool.
is cold in it.
That's what I love so much about Creed is they reinfused Rocky with heart.
Yeah.
Because at some point along the way, they lost it, right?
He ain't in the third movie though.
Those first two movies, you feel so much for Rocky, but then it just became this weird thing where it's like capitalism and
living in America.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, just America versus them,
and that was entertaining. But then by Rocky 5, it sucked. Rocky 6 was a little different, but I just rewatched them all last year, and surprised since I had not watched Rocky 2 for a long time, and I'm like, wow, this movie still holds up. I'm
surprised, but 1 and 2 are interesting movies. I did watch 1 a few years ago, like maybe 6-7 years ago, with Lindsay and some other females, and we were a little creeped out by Rocky. He's a little aggressive. He doesn't really understand when a woman says no. That maybe
like all those movies though, like Top Gun.
No, there's the scene where he's holding the door and he's not letting her out. I know exactly which scene you're
he's a little stalkery. He's a little creepy in that movie, but they fell in love, so okay, whatever, it's fine.
Real Steel,
Stockholm,
the best
Stockholm Syndrome,
Rocky movie. Real Steel.
Hey, there's a bad movie I still like. I love Real Steel.
I love Real Steel too.
And
not Hugh Jackman's worst movie.
Surprisingly, a very
Anthony Mackie
soundtrack from Danny Elfman. Where it doesn't have the that Danny Elfman normally has. It's a different style of film score, but I liked Real Steel.
I hate that movie. It's stupid.
Well, the two of us outvote you.
Yeah. So with that said, because it's it is the Rock'em Sock'em movie, right? It is basically. They just didn't have the license to call it that.
It's better though because of that.
Do you think it's a no contest on Last of Us being the best video game adaptation of all time?
Yeah. Up to this point, yeah. Because I really like the Halo show, but that is not. It is very different from the games.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say in the best ways or worst ways. It's just different. But
I like the Halo show, and I didn't even consider it. I didn't even think about it. I just watched it and liked it because
it's like sci-fi show,
different. Yeah, but I wouldn't even consider it a video in the same level of The Last of Us or Silent Hill or even Mortal Kombat. Because love or hate Mortal Kombat is pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. I like in a lot of ways.
The Mortal Kombat movie is pretty good.
That's the thing with adaptation. There's accuracy, which is
even though there was no Mortal Kombat,
but then there's adaptation. Lord of the Rings is not entirely accurate. Of course, it's got huge. It leaves out huge characters, changes things around, has people where they're not supposed to be. But again, it was all done to serve the story and keep the spirit of the story. Versus
same with Last of Us. They do. There are changes. There's changes.
They're.
I think it's potential, but I'm not going to say until the show's over.
I'll say it now. I think
because we've all seen Game of Thrones, and we don't judge a show until the last dang episode happens.
I'll say it's the best now. I think the game. I guess if isolating the second one, the first game touched on some themes that were very, I guess, controversial at the time, right? Or somewhat still taboo. And to see the show go full force in certain directions, it's crazy, right? It's crazy in the best of ways. Just to have the level of emotion that you're seeing from people.
I won't
From
stop telling my mom because she's watching it, and I won't stop telling her that it's based on a game I used to work on, because like I need her to understand that story came from a game, because I need my mom to understand that the games
Mhm.
can be that.
at
Yeah.
work, I'm leading with like, oh, I watched The Last of Us. It's a really cool show. I don't touch that it's a game. Like I just, hey, you should watch this cool thing. And then the next week when they, oh yeah, that was really good. Yeah, you know, it's actually a game. Like
No, every week I'm reminding my mom it's a game that I worked on, because I think, it was so. I think that part of my life, is like explaining to my family what I do. It is like they don't get it. You know
you
what
were
I mean?
just a cool uncle that got free
it's-
shit for us.
But like there's real stories being told.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so cool that for like the last 20, 30 years, when Hollywood ran out of ideas, they've been mining comic books. But now we're looking at Hollywood is now mining video games, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Because there's so many good games to get stories out of that are, you know, equally as worthy of adaptations as comic books.
But I think the games adapt better to things like this, the short series, because they're longer. I mean, a game, I always describe it as an interactive book. You have the length and the character depth of a book, but you interact with it. And that's why one of the things that I love about games, even back to the old Final Fantasies and such, playing it while my mom watched so she could experience those stories,
Yeah.
even though she couldn't handle the controls, but to get that depth. And so converting it into a 2-hour movie is always going to be harder than
Yeah, for sure. Unless
the
you're gonna
series.
do it
Yeah.
into a series of movies. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, do we know that Mortal Kombat got greenlit for a sequel?
I think it did.
Because I
I have
need
no
that.
idea.
I need
Did
more
Uncharted get
than
greenlit for a sequel?
I
probably.
doubt it. But I mean, I don't know if he's gonna go back to that. I don't know if Wahlberg would.
I
Money
still
would.
haven't finished that movie.
You throw money at Wahlberg, he'll be
I
in anything.
can't. I can't watch that movie. Every time I try and watch it, I'm like, this is terrible.
And I had such a different. I mean, I watched it and I had my view, and it was different. But I watched it with my sister, who that was one of the first movies she had seen out of quarantine, and stuff. One of the first movies she'd seen in the theaters for a long time, and she was loving it because of the silliness, the action, and such. So I enjoyed it a little more because she was liking it so much more. But I wasn't going to burst her bubble, so I'm like, you know what? Enjoy it. Fine. This was made for you.
When do we get the
Go for
Crash
it.
Bandicoot movie?
And should it be animated?
I feel like what they're gonna do. How did the Ratchet and Clank movie do?
Ratchet and Clank, it was not a good movie. It was boring as hell. And that's not a Naughty Dog. I was just trying to list the other Naughty Dog creations.
They only did the first one, right?
Jack and Daxter.
They didn't do Ratchet and Clank.
No, I'm saying Bandicoot.
They did several Crash Bandicoots, I think. Jack and Daxter's the other one they did. Yeah.
Jack Racing.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but there's a lot of Jack and Daxter's and Crash Bandicoots that they did not do. They just sold those properties off. But yeah.
I'm happy. Like it really makes me. It's like it's a different, very secluded part of my. Aside from probably you and a handful of other family members that I play games with, it's like I can't talk about anything game adjacent with my mom or dad or aunts and uncles. So it's kind of nice to have this.
Yeah.
Even with my partner, like it's nice to have like this shared thing now that's like, oh yeah, this is a game like that's, and I'm super stoked because it's like to see like Selena's super into it. I'm like wait till you see what season 2 is going to be, because they've already announced they're going to try to do the second game. It's like there's some even heavier shit in that game, dude. Like
yeah,
I'll definitely finish that before the series comes out.
I actually have not even I haven't even played the second one because like as a reminder, I'm not a giant fan of the game. Like that's that's why I love the show so much, because the problem I have with the game is it's the same problem I have with most of Naughty Dog's games is it's too on rails for me, and there's too you're basically just playing a movie that you don't really have agency in. You know what I mean? Like you got to do the thing that they want you to do if you want to see the story progress. And there's, as much as there are moments in the games where you feel like there should be a decision that you get to choose,
No, there's not.
There's never.
No.
So you're just along for the ride, but you have to press the buttons. Now, don't get me wrong, I get that. That's a cool experience for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like I get that. You know, I think they're just kind of dumbed down games, right? For to allow people that to reach a wider audience. But like, I like games where I get to have a choice. You know, like if you're gonna give me a lot of story, like let me I don't know, let me kind of make some sort of decisions. Like I feel like or like solve meaningful puzzles or figure things out, you know, in certain ways that matter. Like I don't know, for some reason to me I feel like the Metal Gears were, yeah, there is a story they're telling, but I feel like there are different ways I can go about doing certain things to get to that story. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you can play Metal Gear entirely without ever killing a human being if you wanted to, um, and you can get to the end and know what, you know, that story is, versus like you being a ruthless, cold-blooded assassin who's just murdering everybody. You know, like, and you
Murder
get rewarded differently depending on how you play it. You know, like that's cool. Um, when I played, I think Uncharted 3, and in the tutorial, they're trying to show me how to use the gun. And there's a part where me and Sully are hiding behind something, and an enemy comes up, and they want you to shoot him. But instead, I wait till he gets close enough so that I can try and grab him to knock him out. And the tutorial breaks, and it makes Sully shoot him because I failed to do the thing. And then the story keeps going. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, it's like, what kind of tutorial is this? That if the user fails, you still keep going? You should not positively reinforce that kind of behavior. It's
You'll
that
learn
broke
eventually.
that broke my heart, man. It just broke my heart. That Sully's just gonna kill anybody that you actively try not to kill. It's like, what's the point, man?
I feel if the BioShock show or movie they're gonna do on Netflix, like that's like probably the next thing I'd be excited for. That if done right, I could see it living up to this
I'm wary of
caliber.
stuff on Netflix. I am really wary of Netflix.
They do
I
min-max at Netflix versus HBO Max, where I feel like there is no budget.
Yeah, well, the problem with it is they've got a system set up that they think is optimal for them, to as far as green lighting and green lighting sequel seasons and stuff like that, right? Like they have their own metrics that they've established, and they've said basically if a show doesn't get X number of views within and by this time, and X number of people have completed the entire season within the first week or something like that, then we don't greenlight it, right? But the problem is, like, that's counterintuitive to the purpose of Netflix, right? Like the purpose of streaming is that you watch it when it's convenient for you, right? And the purpose of having Netflix is you have a giant catalog of stuff to discover. But it's kind of messed up now that like they've fallen into this weird trap of like expecting new shows to be consumed by binging so fast that like you'll then go to the water cooler, tell all your friends, get the Netflix or go watch this show now so that it gets greenlit for a season 2, right? Like they already decided on that 90s show. That show came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they greenlit it, and I'm sure they did because enough people liked it and stuff like that. But like that's so weird to me that like there's other shows that have been canceled that I, like what was it, 1899? You guys were talking, or like I think people in the Slack were talking about a month or two ago. That one got canceled, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And
I mean, they're obviously more in tune to their metrics, right? It's their platform. I'm sure they have enough, whether we like it or not. I'm sure there's enough data there to justify their decisions.
Yeah, it's just a bummer that like
that it's come down to that, like it's an algorithmic choice, not necessarily.
Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference, right? On network TV, say you're watching a show, it gets canceled, right? You never have to watch that show again. It's never there, right? It's gone. They're not going to rerun it because it got canceled, right? On Netflix, you're going to have season 1 of 1899 there forever for somebody to discover. And one day they're going to discover it and they're going to watch it and they're going to get to the end and it's going to be a cliffhanger.
But it's like I think the inverse happens, right? Look, we're getting King of the Hill's coming back. I love King of the Hill. I watch King of the Hill once every year through the whole thing.
Wait, King of the Hill ended? I didn't know it ended.
It ended in 2011.
I didn't know that.
It's coming back.
Okay.
So I'm sure if
Netflix is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it'll come back.
So when you say they're developing BioShock, I'm like, okay.
Well, there's a Twisted Metal show done already with Anthony Mackie. I think that's this year too. I don't know where that's coming out.
He's Axel, right?
I hope he's Axel.
Probably Axel. But see, what Twisted Metal's gonna be is Axel is gonna be able to get out of the thing and walk around and talk to people and go on adventures, and then once every 5 episodes, he's gonna get back in the thing.
Yeah, robotic hands, and then he'll plug him in.
Samoa Joe is Sweet Tooth. Will Arnett's in that show. Okay,
well now I'm down.
It's on Peacock.
Oh, if it's on Peacock, I'll give it a shot. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you say it's on Netflix, I get scared because like I know that Netflix is cutthroat.
Stephanie Beatrice, Hayden.
Stephanie
Church.
Beatrice is in it.
Will Arnett
is
voicing Sweet Tooth.
Oh man, that's good. How much money is David Jaffe getting for any of that?
We should get him on the show and ask. Probably not a ton.
Probably nothing, right? Yeah. Yeah. Clarke, I think we're gonna do. We were talking about it, and I think we're gonna do the Mandalorian show again when it comes back.
Cool.
So if you want to do that one with us, it's the only show I feel. Have you watched The Bad Batch at all?
No.
Haven't even tried. I hated the first season so much that I'm like, why should I be excited that the season 2 is out? I haven't touched Disney Plus in since the Encanto thing.
Really?
Or no, since Strange World. That's it. That's it. That's the last thing I watched on Disney Plus. And I need something to watch on it, so I can't wait for Mando to come back. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that one.
Load up Black Panther real quick and watch.
Yeah, I'll watch Black Panther and then I'll be done again. Maybe I'll watch Love and Thunder out of guilt.
Speaking of Black Panther, there's been some slight controversy on one of the cruise shows that they do, the Disney cruise shows. Apparently, there's a scene where, through the power of the multiverse, Shuri reunites with T'Challa, and there's like a hug and like, oh, you're back, brother. Kind of weird, right? Like they're separate things.
I really don't care about a show on a Disney cruise ship.
Yeah. It's not canon.
That's true. Yeah. It's not canon.
It's not canon. Yeah.
I feel though that like if anybody gets butthurt about any weird stuff like that, after the show What If exists. Like, wait, what are you doing? Like,
Disney adults are a different breed, man. I just
like,
can't. I don't.
What If is Marvel's attempt to give Elseworlds to people, and they can't even accept it. They just can't accept it. It's come on. Marvel Snap built its entire game like premise off of What If's variants, or What If and Loki. And so like if you can't accept variants and the fact that they can do other things, go watch something else. I don't get it. I don't get it. By the way, I found a new What If, or not What If. I found a new Snap deck that I've been using the last few hours today.
Mm-hmm.
It's super cool. I found it on Snap. It's called Witch Magic, but then I found out there's a whole video about it, and it's called the Magentress deck. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's basically like it's the simplest Zabu deck ever, but with a funny twist. It's a bunch of 4-drops, like a lot of 4-drops. Right?
All right, I'm curious because my Zabu got his butt kicked tonight.
So here's the trick. Just 1/1-drop and 1/2-drop is just Sunspot and Lizard. If you get them, cool. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. They're just there to kind of help you secure some locations. Obviously you're playing for Zabu, right? So like if you don't see Zabu by like turn 4, probably dip out unless you got some cool draw that maybe you can pull it off. But the whole point is it's Zabu, a bunch of 4s, and then magic. There's no 6-drop at all, no other 5-drops. And sorry, I forgot. There's one other 2-drop. Scarlet Witch. And so the whole thing you do is you do Zabu on 3. You'd play 2 4-drops on 2. On 4. So it could either be they're big. You use big beefy 4-drops or very useful ones that lock down a location. So you either use like Crossbones or Emma Frost because they're huge, right? Or Jessica Jones. And then or Spider-Man, which he can still do the same purpose or serve the same purpose. But then on 5, you drop magic, right? So now it says there's a turn 7, right?
Yeah, and then Scarlet Witch, the magic.
And then on turn 6, 2 more 4s and a Scarlet Witch. And the psychology of that deck is so hilarious because I've been playing it all night, and the amount of people that suddenly change the way they play their deck because they think they have it's the greed of it all. Because they think they have an extra turn to play, they don't play the things that they would normally play on turn 6. And it's super funny, man. It's like I deserve the Kamala middle finger after I win those games. It's so funny. You gotta try it.
I'm loading it up right now,
and I know you can make it. All of us can make this deck. Mm-hmm. So, and as a backup, by the way, I forgot there is one other 3-drop that you include in the deck just in case. Storm. You include Storm also.
Yeah, she wipes that location too. Yep.
Yeah, she wipes the location, but it's enough to just have her. She's also just handy on 3 if you miss Zabu, because she can do the location kind of thing with Spider-Man, right? Like if you have Storm and you don't hit Zabu, you can do Storm and then Jessica Jones on the same location just to kind of secure that one.
Okay, so we're getting rid of like the low power ones like Wong and Jubilee and going all.
Okay, so your one only Sunspot, right? Your 2s are just
I got Sunspot, Scarlet Witch,
and then Lizard.
Send the deck code. Send the code.
Nah, you can just build it right now.
I almost have it all built. Yeah.
So it's just Lizard and Scarlet Witch, right? Your 3s are Zabu and Storm. That's it. Just those are your only 3s. Then your 4s are Spider-Man, Emma Frost, Jessica Jones, Crossbones, Enchantress, Shang-Chi, and I don't know how much space you have left after that.
Rescue.
Nah. You could if you need it, but you want to make sure you have magic in there. Magic you need to have in there.
All right, I have magic. So let's see. I have Sunspot, Scarlet Witch, Lizard, Zabu, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man,
Storm.
Jessica
You forgot
Jones.
Storm.
Oh,
You
I
forgot Storm.
Okay. Storm. Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Jessica Jones, Crossbones.
Enchantress and you got Enchantress?
Yeah,
You need Enchantress. The other, you guys know the trick with Enchantress and Lizard, right? She makes Lizard the best 2-drop ever.
Yeah, so that he doesn't lose his 5 or his
power.
power.
Yeah.
So if you need to in a pinch, try if you can try and put Lizard on the same location that they might be running ongoing.
Oh, and also. White Queen. There we go.
Yeah, White Queen or Emma Frost. Yeah,
Emma Frost. Okay, so it's Sunspot, Scarlet Witch, Lizard, Storm, Zabu, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Enchantress, Jessica Jones, White Queen, Crossbones, and Magic.
Yep.
All right.
And Crossbones is so delicious to play because you basically, the whole trick is on turn 1 and 2 and 3, just try and get 2 locations, right? And then on turn 4, if you get Crossbones, you just put him on whichever one you want to really win. And then maybe put Spider-Man on the other one that you're going to... Spider-Man on the one that you're going to Magic is pretty good. Because Magic's kind of low, right, in power.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to at least make it so that they're having a hard time putting people there. But yeah, man, that Scarlet Witch on 6 is so messed up. Now, in fairness, sometimes it could bite you in the butt because Scarlet Witch can turn things into a rickety bridge or something like that,
Yep.
But it's funny, though. It's really funny. And it's one of the few times that I've ever seen a game where I feel like you can snap late because, like, the way it plays out sometimes, it makes people really overconfident. When they see that limbo, they just think, oh, you're really going to get it, man. And so they snap. Like, they get so excited because they think they've got you.
I would too.
Now, in fairness, sometimes they do have you. So, like, and they're fully aware of what you're doing. Those parts are sad. But when you get somebody with it, it's really
throw
good.
Up the emote.
Yeah, exactly. That's my 2 cents. I love that deck. It's cracking me up. And it makes me so sad because I was telling Lindsay this morning. So I got She-Hulk yesterday, right? And I was super excited because it's like arguably one of the best new cards in the game. I spent so much time getting my ass kicked with her yesterday.
No Zabu. I'm on turn 4, so no Zabu. I'm out of here.
Yeah, if you don't have them by 4, it gets questionable. Like, because 5, you have to play Magic pretty much, unless Limbo already shows up. Obviously, don't play Magic if Limbo exists already.
Right.
Yeah, it got really awkward one game I played because I limboed, and then somebody played Magic on another location, and so there were 2 Limbos, and he snapped, and I was like, uh-oh, I think I'm gonna lose this one. Because I couldn't get rid of both, and he got all the way to turn 7, and he did some messed up stuff to me. Like my problem, I was telling Chi yesterday on the show that I usually hate decks with Magic because I feel like if you need a turn 7 to get your combo off, your deck's just too complicated. Because you should be able to definitively win on 6, like, most of the time. Yeah. And so, like, what makes me so happy about this deck is it's a Magic deck that wins on 6. And it's super funny. And you can still do pretty good without Magic on 6, like, there's ways to do it. But highly recommend you go try that one.
No, they got me.
You'll get it. You'll figure it out. You're gonna do this.
They-
I believe in you.
They did. Well, I had it, but they beat me by 1.
See, they beat you by 1. That's not terrible.
I like those
Well,
odds.
When I lose by 1, I don't feel bad. It's when
Wait a
I
minute.
lose by
I
40.
did Scarlet Witch. Yeah. Yeah, they beat me by 1 with I would have had it, but then they played Odin on turn
6.
no earlier because they had an extra thing because I did magic, and then on 6.
Oh, did they do like Psylocke or something to get an extra point?
Oh no, maybe it was 6. Maybe it was turn 6. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing you gotta the thing with the deck is you gotta pay really close attention to what turn you're on because it gets confusing as soon as you have a 7th turn available. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
I'm gonna play with that. I like that concept.
Yeah, it's the witchy magic.
I did escape, so I only lost 1 cube.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Ricky, you seem like you're ready to get out of here.
I got a long day of reinvesting my 401k tomorrow morning.
Oh my god,
in the form of cards.
That is not how 401ks work, Ricky.
All right, guys.
Cool.
Awesome. Good discussion tonight.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, and I'm glad we didn't have to talk much more Krull.
Hey, it's done.
And I hope that our patrons enjoyed this banter, even though I know one of them doesn't play Marvel Snap. So, oh well, sorry. You're paying for me to talk about Marvel Snap.
Yeah,
just deal with it. All right, cool. I'll talk to you guys later, and thanks for watching. Ricky, we got a new outro. Go for it.
see ya.